Gael Garcia Bernal learns Portuguese to play a significant role in the telling of one of the most important historical stories, which has helped shape the Philippines, both from a history perspective as well as their national identity. This has been done under the guise of the master of slow cinema, Lav Diaz. Set in the 16th century, he plays Magellan, a man who is guiding ships into faraway lands in order to colonise them, steal their valuables, and enforce slavery. After one bloody encounter, he goes back to Portugal and has to convince the king to let him take one more journey in order to achieve valuable goods and provide a new trading route for the Portuguese. This trip is extremely challenging because of the conditions of the Pacific Ocean, but there is also this dictatorship that's going on the ship, where Magellan is enforcing the religious orthodoxy and killing people from nearby ships. You get the sense that his brutality is not just through colonialism of the Philippines, but also his strict enforcement of codes within the day-to-day experience. On the arrival of a Filipino island, Magellan tries to enforce the strict Christian values and beliefs onto the locals. But the question is, will the locals accept it, or will they rebel against these imperialist invasions? Magellan made its debut at the Cannes Film Festival this year, and it has been selected as the Philippines' official submission for the 98th Academy Award for Best International Feature Film. So let's dig deep into this film. If you're new to my channel, my name is Paul, and I review the best of world cinema following the race for Best International Feature Film, from countries selecting their Oscar submission to the final winner. The film Magellan provides a key aspect of Filipino identity and history, and while I'm absolutely not an expert of the region and its histories, you do get a real sense that this is authentically reflecting a key component of this nation state. The historic situation has shaped culture, language, and religious belief, and I get the sense Diaz has been extremely urgent to place this on the map to provide more understanding of Filipino identity and history. And for people who know nothing about the region, it perhaps provides a great starting point to get that understanding. And in addition to this, we also translate to other areas, whether it's Ukraine and Russia or the Middle East, where there's senses of imperialism happening and the impact it has on local communities. And it challenges the myth that supposed civilization approaches that used to be identified as such in the history books are actually quite brutal. And one way how this film works is the brilliant performance by Gael Garcia Bernal, who has a habit of working with some of the best orators in world cinema. And he delivers a really complex, nuanced performance of the aggressor. Yes, it's aggressor. Yes, he's an imperialist. Yes, he's causing havoc and murder. But actually, they also show the human elements, which provides a more complex character and prevents it from being a caricature, which is always the risk when showing such brutality on this big screen. Now, this film is directed by Lav Diaz, the king of slow cinema. And if you've never seen his films before, they are extremely long. They are extremely slow, with minutes being dedicated to the long shot. And I think another successful point of this film is the fact he brings this cinematography to Magellan. So we see the beauty and the roughness of the tribal communities. We see the deadliness of the Pacific Ocean, and the cinematography continues the trend of his films of delivering beautiful pictures. And now this is where I think the film fails. He's trying to use a very conventional and accessible story narrative with the slow cinema format. Now, slow cinema is something that provides you opportunities to think. It doesn't necessarily make sense, and sometimes it creates the sense of boredom, frustration, or thought-provoking, or whatever it might be. And I'm finding within Magellan, there's this conflict between the accessible story with the slow cinema approach, which means it doesn't quite work, and it's perhaps a more negative version of boring in certain places. As I said, this is the Philippines' official submission for the 98th Academy Awards, and the Philippines were one of the first 8 countries to submit in the 1958 Oscars for the Best Foreign Language Film, which was the first time it was a competitive race between countries. And from those 8, the Philippines is the only country to never have a shortlisting nomination or win the award, while the other 7, which are basically Japan and Europe, have all won the awards. So Philippines are holding some form of record in this, I suppose. Now, I think Magellan's not going to provide the first success for the Philippines. I feel it's too slow cinema, and this conflict between the slow cinema aspect and the narrative will make it quite a challenge for voters. And at 160 minutes, it's probably not the sort of film voters will go to automatically. There's lots to admire about this film. It looks beautiful, a great lead performance, and it tells such an important story of Filipino history. However, this conflict I just can't get over, and therefore I'm going to give Magellan 3 stars. Have you seen Magellan? Put in the comments what you thought. Did you enjoy the slow cinema aspect? And do you think it reflects Filipino history well? If you want more news and reviews for the Best International Feature Film Academy Award, please do subscribe to Global Film Pool. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.